Hello again. This is Nick Roach, and this video is regarding, or entitled, "There is no knowledge in being." There's no knowledge or information in being, in awareness. Now this comes about initially because over the years I've heard great spiritual masters and gurus, teachers, talking about all sorts of, from amazing knowledge of the universe, whether it's reincarnation, life after death, life before death, how the universe works. And many years ago I was amazed at what they were describing and how they knew that, and wanted one day to know what they know. And I assumed that the knowledge was in the being or awareness that they were realizing. And to a certain extent that's the case, but it's only half true. For example, when one is first born, it is said as a baby one is just pure awareness, just being. Yes, they've got a body, but at that time the baby isn't really even familiar with their own body, so they are just being, pure being, with a bit of something, but to their experience, just being. But in that being, in that awareness, there is not the knowledge, I'm at one with everything. Everything is me. Everything is my own reflection. I am nothing. There's nobody here and nothing here. This whole place is just my own self reflected back to me. That thought process, of course, is not in the baby. The knowledge is not in the baby, in the conscious awareness. And of course you've got animals. I hear them behind me. Some of the geese are just being. Now I would suggest again that knowledge, the information, is not going on in the animals. I'm part of everything, I'm everything, everything is one. This is my reflection, my being, I am nothing. That's unlikely to be going on. Which implies to me, that alone implies to me that the knowledge, the information, is not in the state of being awareness. There's something else. And likewise, some people might be on the same level of knowledge, of enlightenment, let's say, and have very different ways of describing it. And I never understood why, to me, this being a dream was so obvious, blatant. It's like can't be any other way of describing it. And other people who I know as, let's say, as advanced as me, but I don't want to label this, but just to make the point, maybe even more so, say to me, what do you mean it's a dream? I don't understand. Why do you say it's a dream? I'm going, well, how can it not be? What do you mean you don't know this? You know as much as me. How can you not know this? So again, the knowledge, the information, is not actually in the awareness, in the being itself. So where is it? Well, from what I can see, as the person goes deeper into the sense of being or awareness, because of this world of separation, dependent on their mental, intellectual capacity, it seems the mind will interpret what's being experienced, almost filter it, describe it, turn it into something the mind can understand. Sometimes it is. There's nothing here. I'm nothing. This is just happening. This is just being. This is just awareness. Sometimes it will be, I'm not the only one, thankfully. This is a dream. The one person's dream, the one dream, the dream of the being behind it all. And one wakes up to know I'm all of this, and one is still walking around in their own dream. And no doubt there'll be other ways of describing it. And this has led to a lot of confusion because these enlightened masters, teachers, gurus, describe existence, life, in sometimes very different ways. And then the people who are not in that state listen to them, hear one and says, right, that's how it is. I believe him. I believe he knows. Then there's another one. Well, he's saying something different. How can he say something different? He doesn't know, or he is wrong, or the first one's wrong. And they argue about it. In knowledge, in being or awareness, there is no knowledge. There is no information. It's just how the mind interprets the experience of going into stillness, where there is no separation, where I'm complete and I'm whole, I'm one, I don't feel separate anymore. And as I go within and I feel I'm no longer separate, one is not gaining information, one is losing information. And that losing, letting go of all the beliefs and opinions, the brain then interprets it into a way of explaining it. Hence, to me, I was no longer separate from anything, and my emotions were creating the outside world, and as determined by the amount of conscious awareness I have, the outside world will change. And that to me is a dream. And talking of dream, this is why this came about recently. I was relaying to people involved in lucid dreaming, where you're aware that you're dreaming when asleep, that I very rarely become lucid when I'm dreaming. Very rarely when I'm dreaming do I know this is a dream, I'm asleep. Although the knowledge is available at any time here when I'm awake, when I'm asleep, it doesn't happen. But what does happen, because I do make an effort to connect with dreams I had, so I can sort of understand what's going on in my unconsciously when I'm asleep, I like to look at it. What can happen is I've noticed any difficult situation potentially in my dream when I'm asleep, anything happens, instead of becoming emotional, I automatically connect within into the being, as I do when I'm awake. Automatically I'm there, and the moment I connect inside, the external situation in my dream, the situation disappears, evaporates, changes to something else the same instant I connect. But I still do not know that I'm dreaming. And this is the point here. There's not any knowledge or information in being aware. There's an absence of knowledge. There's an absence of information, one could say. And that therefore perhaps where we come to the phrase, I know nothing. What one has, as one realizes this when awake, as one goes within, as I said, the information believing the environment is let go. And it's more of a, it's not that, 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 it's not that. And eventually all that's left is this being. And for some gurus and teachers, that is all it is. I have read from one or two who have said there's nothing to teach. And they don't believe in teachers. And that's because, let's say, they're in that state where there's no information. And yet another guru master is in that state. And their mind, I'll say, has been able to interpret it, the information or the lack of information, in a way they can describe to others, and others will understand it, be able to put it together. And yes, it's only concepts, but that doesn't mean they're not real. It's not true. They're wrong. Just a way of describing this in a way that people can understand. But eventually this is not about information. Enlightenment or self-realization or God-realization is not about information. It's not about knowledge. It's about being. It's all about being. And there's no knowledge, there's no information in being. Thank you.